Welcome to Shom Hashav on the Daf. Shir sponsor Lui Nishmas Arbiak Hashem Le'Abbas Yitzchok. We're holding in Sanhedrin Daf Nun Vov. The Gemara in this Daf introduces the idea of Sheva Mitzvos Bnei Noach. The 7 mitzvahs that Bnei Noach got, the Goyim got, they have to keep. Now, what's the reason that Bnei Noach have 7 mitzvahs, while the Yidden, the Jewish people, get Taryag mitzvahs? Is there any significance to the number? So we'll start with the Ben Yoda on the spot that says the reason is 7 mitzvahs Bnei Noach is because the world is divided to 7. There's 7 days in the week. There's 7 aklimim, 7 different places in the world. Or it's connected to 7 koiches atumo of Yetzer Hara, so they'll be able to stand in front of the Yetzer Hara. To Maharal in Tiferet Yisrael Perek Zayin and a few other places in his Sfarim, he says that when HaKadosh created the Adam, there's no such thing as an Adam just being in a Hefker world. He's in the middle of nowhere. He has nothing, he has no structure. The 7 mitzvahs Bnei Noach put the Adam in the minimum structure that one can have. And the mashmos of the moral is that because the world itself is divided to 7, like we said, 7 days in a week. And as the moral mentions many times in his farm, every item in the world has 7 sides to it. Because everything is a cube. So it has up, down, right, left, front, back, and then the middle. So 7 represents this world. So in order for an Adam to be in this world, he must have a structure of 7 in order to operate in this world. The Maharal is noiket, the 7 mitzvahs Bnei Noach were given to Adam Rishon right away when he was created. Rav Tzadok HaKohen, the Pri Tzaddik, in Parshas Bolok, Ois Tes, he says the 7 mitzvahs come to Adam Rishon only after the Chet. Before the Chet, he's in a perfect world, doesn't need the shmira of the 7 mitzvahs. But only after the Chet, when he goes down to a world who needs shmira, that's when he needs the 7 mitzvahs Bnei Noach. So Tzaddik, even though he argues with the Maharal, when it was given, he goes to the same mahalach. 7 mitzvahs Bnei Noach is the minimum protection you can have in the world. On the other hand, we know there's something called Taryag mitzvahs. So as the Arvi Nachal says in the Pasuk that's mentioned here in the Gemara, what is the Taryag mitzvahs? The Taryag mitzvahs is all the tzinoiris of ashpa that we have in the world. Chazal and Sefer HaZorah tell us that why do we have Taryag mitzvahs? It's connected to Ramach Eivorim V'Shasa Gidim, 248 limbs and 365 sinews. So he goes on to say that only an Adam who lives in Kedusha, like a Jew, can have all these ashpas, all these connections of all these Eivorim and Gidim to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But the Goyim, they're living in a place of Tumah, they can't have such a connection. He goes on to explain in Kabbalah, this Inyan, that when things are in Koiches Tumah, if you have too much ashpa, it's going to be given to the bad in the world. So therefore the Goyim have the minimum amount of 7, while Am Yisrael has the maximum amount of the full ashpa Adam can get, which is 613. And to explain this a little more, bring over here where the Beis Halevi, the famous Beis Halevi in Jush Zayin says. The Beis Halevi comes with a question. He says, how could Am Yisrael say in Matan Torah, nice Nishma? Nice Nishma means we'll do whatever you tell us to do. But we know that the halacha is, if a person accepts them on himself, something she'ein lo kitzvah, so they'll do for you whatever you ask me to do, with no limitations. So that's not a ischayvus. One cannot do that. The person has to be mischayav in something specific. How can the Yidden come and say, we will do everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us? So says the Beis Halevi, because the oimek inyan of the Taryag mitzvahs is not that we're doing 613 mitzvahs, but it is the Am Yisrael or the slaves or the servants of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And a person can sell himself as a slave. That's Davar Mesuyim. That's something specific. He sells himself as a slave. He mainly has to do everything that the master asks him. When Am Yisrael said Na'aseh v'nishma, they became servants of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu give him all the mitzvahs that they have. And with this, he goes on to explain what's the chiluk between the Taryag mitzvahs and the Zayin mitzvahs Bnei Noach. So Zayin mitzvahs Bnei Noach is there's some obligations that the guy has to do for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's obligations. He does the obligation, and he's free to be on his own. But a Yid, he doesn't have 613 obligations. He's 100% a servant of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that expresses itself in 613 different ways, all the mitzvahs. We can add to that what we always mention, what's brought down in the name of the Vilna Gaon, that really it's much more than 613 mitzvahs. The mitzvahs include everything that we do in life. It's only 613 klolim, rules that include all the mitzvahs that are shaykh. So the 613 mitzvahs, that expresses the shibut, the complete devotion that Am Yisrael has, that we have nothing of our own. We're completely servants of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. While the 7 mitzvahs b'noach is like an employee that has to do a certain job and then he's on his own. And this connects to what we learned before. As the Maharal says, the 7 mitzvahs b'noach is that it can't be a person that has no structure. He needs to have some structure to live in. So he has a structure, then he has his own life. The Targ Mitzvos, similar to the Arvi Nachal, means that we're completely connected to the Hashpah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because we're completely connected to the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Being Mechuyev in Targ Mitzvos is a whole different essence of being a Oived Hashem than the Zayin Mitzvahs B'Noach. Anyone who wants to join the Shomachshava email list to what's to go, please email shomachshava@gmail.com.